Today I'm going to do the 24-hour pulled beef experiment. I'm going to take this beautiful piece of meat, season it up, put it in my smoker and let it smoke for at least 24 hours or even longer if necessary to get this done. And the reason why is because this beautiful piece of meat holds the secret to juicy, tender pulled beef.
A big thanks to Borniak Smokers for sponsoring this video.
And to do this experiment, I selected this, a giant piece of beef. This is absolutely huge. In the Netherlands we call this a beef neck, but in reality it's the chuck. And why do we love that chuck so much? Well, because it has a beautiful meat to fat ratio, it has loads and loads of flavor, and it's a tough piece of meat by comparison, which makes it less popular and a little bit cheaper. Well, that nowadays it's not entirely true anymore, but you get the point. It used to be cheaper. I'm becoming the old guy that complains about everything getting more expensive. Whoa. Now look at this beautiful thing. Whoa. I want to slap it so bad, but some people really don't like that. I'm not going to slap it as much. Look, you see that? That's the ribeye. And I was actually thinking of cutting another steak maybe out of this, but then I saw this little tip right here. And you see how small that is? That means that it's definitely the end of the ribeye. So sadly, I can't get a whole ribeye out of it anymore, but it is such a beautiful piece of meat. I want it to be perfect. By having a little bit of the ribeye on one side makes it extra sexy. And just look at all that intramuscular fat that runs through that meat. This is just one piece of fantastic meat. It's got that beefy smell that we all love so much. I know this is gonna be good. This is gonna be so good. Except if I mess up the cook, of course, then we're going to be in trouble. You never know. Remember that we did the beef ribs and salt? That experiment kind of failed, so yeah, you never know what's going to happen. But I'm going to do my utmost best to turn this into a success story and give us delicious pulled beef. And this beautiful piece weighs about 9 kilograms, which is around 18 pounds. And for us here in the Netherlands, the price per pound is about €6, which is almost the same thing as $6, and that is a cheap cut. If you compare that with brisket, that's double the price. So if you're feeding a lot of people, this is definitely an interesting cut to replace for a brisket or something else. Maybe we should actually do that video. I'll be seasoning this with a pitmasterx Texas barbecue seasoning. Now seasoning this is not very hard. We just need to spread out that seasoning, make it look good. Just don't put it in one place. This is like the signature of the pitmaster. Getting a nice amount of seasoning on. If you compare this to a brisket, it is almost double as thick. So that means we want double the amount of seasoning on the outside of this piece of meat. So we season it to perfection. That is a beautiful layer. Let's flip this around to the other side. There we go. And as you can see, it's still wet enough from the package. I want to make sure I get the sides too. This is now one beautiful looking piece of meat and it's ready to go on the barbecue. And to do this experiment, I'm going to use the trusty Borniak smoker. And there's a good reason why I'm choosing this barbecue. You see, this is an electric smoker, which means we use electricity to heat up the barbecue and use electricity to create smoke, which is going to give me the ultimate amount of control over temperature and smoke, while I can do other things, which if you're doing a 24-hour experiment is a pretty neat feature. Now the way that this thing works is super easy. On this side we have our hopper, which will feed smoke to a heating element that will set the wood chips on fire and create smoke. And in the back we have a heating element which will create the heat that we need to get the right temperature inside this barbecue. Now the Borniak is fully insulated, so that means it's very energy efficient and it won't use a lot of wood. As a matter of fact, the wood comes in these tiny bags and I'm probably going to need only a little part of it to create enough smoke. I'm going to switch it on, start up the heating element, and I'm going to set the temperature to 105 degrees Celsius, which is 221 degrees Fahrenheit. And the height of the temperature is super important because we need enough temperature difference to get this whole piece of meat to 98 degrees Celsius core temperature. But at the same time, I don't want to go too fast. I want this experiment to last at least 24 hours. Time to put the chuck roast in. 9 kilograms of meat. Whoa. The thermometer where it's controlled is at this level, so that's where I'm putting the meat. Overall, you don't have to worry about it too much, but for this experiment, it's kind of handy to have it exactly the way we need it to be. Now at the bottom here, you see the heat deflector plate, so some of the fat is going to drip down onto this plate and it's going to go into this little bin here. It's going to be catching all of the fat drippings. And the other tray is for the wood chips to fall into when it starts smoking. So now let's close the lid and let the barbecue do its job. The first 4 hours have passed on our cook. Let's see what it looks like. Ooh, we already have a beautiful color buildup. That looks freaking delicious. We got that nice crust going on, and look, the fat is starting to render out a little bit. That is actually starting to look really, really good. I didn't expect the crust on the outside to build up that fast already. But as you can see, we got plenty of smoke coming, giving us a little bit more smoke flavor. This is starting to look really promising. I'm gonna check the temp to see how we're doing. Ooh, not even close. 40 degrees Celsius yet, and I must admit I put it on quite cold. So that doesn't surprise me that it's going to take a long time. I want it to become a really, really amazing bark, and that's what we're going to achieve by cooking this way. I can see that the dripping tray bowl hasn't filled up. There's nothing in it yet, which means we're not rendering fat down at a fast rate, so we can leave it as it is right now. I do need to add a little bit of water where the smoked wood chips are going, and I need to remove the embers of the smoked wood. I'm just gonna quickly check on the wood chips. Just gonna add a little bit more just to be sure. I don't want to run out yet. I can always shut it down if I need to. And now it's good for another couple of hours. I think it's just gonna be the most beautiful pulled beef I've ever seen. We're 6 hours in the cook now, and I just wanted to do a final check before I go to bed. Oh, look at that crust. That is freaking amazing. That looks really, really good. But oh, I can see a lot of fat starting to render off. Look at that. Oh, it's oozing out. That's dripping onto this dripping tray, and we're catching that fat right there underneath. But what I want to do now is I'm going to slide in a dripping tray so that we're going to catch most of the dripping. I'm going to need another pan. There we go. That's going to catch most of the dripping. What we're preventing here is the grease and the juice going down, then catching onto this, and eventually building up way too much fat at the bottom of this barbecue. And now we're secure, but with this color on, I'm going to stop smoking. We definitely have enough smoke. Oh, looks so good. So I'm going to switch that off. That's going to stop the smoking. And then just gonna leave this. There we go. See you tomorrow morning. Early morning check-in. It's now 15 hours into the cook. Let's see. Whoa. Oh, check this out. It looks so good. Look how it just popped up. It became double the size. The bark on the outside is super nice and crispy. That it looks so good. I can't tell you how good this looks. It's a good thing we put the drip trays in. A little bit of grease catch there. Measure the core temperature. Only 72. Well, we're taking the coldest temperature, but that means we still have a long ways to go. 105, I'm gonna raise it up to 110 degrees Celsius. It's still gonna take me to 24 hours, don't worry. Oh, mornings don't get better than that. Except for the rain, of course, because the weather's typical Dutch. Gotta live with it. A quick check-in. We're at the 18-hour mark and things are going really well. The color on the outside of the chuck looks freaking amazing. We got that beautiful dark look. By my estimations, and we got another 6 hours to go, we're never ever going to make it in time to hit that 24-hour mark, or even 30, 40, 60 hours, because we're just too close to the end temperature that we want to reach, especially since everything inside that chuck still has to render down completely. Now, if we need that to happen within the 24 hours, we need to raise up the temperature a little bit. We set it to 110 degrees Celsius. I'm going to now raise it up to 120. This way we know we're going to get this done today. And then there's the second thing. I realized I didn't tell you the complete story behind this experiment. You see, I found this cut in the restaurant wholesaler shop. So I wanted to try this piece out and see if it worked. Especially since this is a brand of beef, and I wanted to try it and see if it's any good if we do a low and slow with it. And to test it properly, I don't want to wrap it up in beef tallow and just trying to get it absolutely perfect. I just want to let it go through its paces. In the end, of course, we're going to eat it and enjoy it if it works out. But if not, then I know that this is not the right piece of beef to take any further steps with. So therefore, no wrapping, no beef tallow, no babying, no doing crazy tricks to make this better than it needs to be. Just the honest truth about this beef. We almost did it, almost 24 hours. But in reality, it's 25 and a half hours, so not counting 10 minutes or so, more or less. Look at this. Doesn't it look amazing? How do you know it's done? When your probe just falls in. And if I let it go, it's just gonna fall out again. That's how soft this thing is. Insane soft. Core temperature is about 98 degrees Celsius. And the cool thing about pulled pork is, or pulled beef I should say, is you don't have to let this rest. The whole thing is going to fall apart on you, and all of the juices are going to be wherever you put it, and there's no sense in just letting it rest and just hoping the fluids will go back and then for a juicier. Either you overcooked it or you cooked it to perfection. Let me try and get this thing out in one piece. It's been cooking for 25 hours. Give it a break. If it's not connected to the grill grates in 25 hours, something went wrong. This is not going to come out without a fight. You can't get it off the grill grates without destroying it. I want to hold it so bad, like my little baby. Oh. It's just crazy falling apart. Look, if I'm going to drop it, it's going to fall apart on me. You see that? It's falling apart on me already. Oh, just look at this. Look at how juicy this is. It's just dripping. Shredding it, it's not even working. This is so little effort. I don't think I've ever put in this little effort in pulling something. It's juicy. Look at the bark. It's juicy. It's nice, a little bit of crunch. It's falling apart. It's got a little bit of smoke ring. This is really freaking good. That chuck really is amazing on the barbecue. This could be, and it is more affordable than brisket, so this could be a real good substitute for having beef for a large audience. Especially with pulled beef and halal food and things like that, this is a great option. Only strings of juiciness. And there's no little piece here that's not juicy. Now of course, what I'm also gonna do is get that beef tallow that we smoked with the beef fat, because all of that dripping, that is beef tallow. Oh, all of its juices back together. Because you gotta remember, that was already in the chuck. So we're not adding anything, we're just putting it back, the juices. And that's why I love capturing it so much. Making it all one piece. Oh, look at that. I think we can call this a successful experiment. We just take a bowl like this and just pack it together. Put it on a sandwich. How about that? Slice of American cheese. Let it or make it melt. A couple of slices of pickle. And you know this bun is not gonna need a sauce. It is perfect as it is. And this is the things dreams are made of. It only took 24 hours to make. Doesn't dream about that. Crosscut. Let's open it up. Oh, come in, my friend. I just want to say cheers.
Yeah, let's do cheers.
25 and a half hours. Can you taste it?
Yeah. You know what's also really good is you have like one sandwich now, but you have like 5 more kilos still to eat.
Definitely. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If you want to become a member to the show and support us, and we got all these membership things, and every now and then we're giving something away. It's not really loud, but let's not call it a giveaway.
Let's not gamble here.
That's not gamble here. That's illegal. So check out our membership and what it offers.
And our website. And the reps.
Everything? You want them to check everything?
Check everything.
That's too much work, bro. They gotta go on to the next video.